NOC, the Nerds of Color. We are back with another ShoPowSho. I am Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange, and I am back with the amazing Ates, Kataphorric, and Viva. Valentina, how y'all doing, ladies?
So good. Right, yeah.
We got a huge one this week because they have this amazing film that's going to be dropping this weekend, actually, at the Hawaiian Film Festival. They're having their big launch. This is they're having a virtual premiere for those that can't make it to Hawaii, but this is it. They've been waiting 7 years for this. I can only imagine the heebie-jeebies, the jitters, the anticipation that these guys have for this film. They also released a comic book that I had the tremendous honor to review for the Nerds of Color. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out over on the nerdsofcolor.org. If you are a fan of the original film, you're going to love this lead-in tie-in that's going to present you with the film Lumpia with a Vengeance that's going to drop. Great segue for that material. I hope you check it out. That's available. We'll give you all the links and everything. It'll be in the description. So you want to check that out. But we have these amazing creators that are going to come on. And Tina and Kat, y'all ready?
I want to see the trailer. Show me the trailer. Let's go.
We're ready. We need to give them a little something, right? So here we go. Check out Lumpia with a Vengeance right here. Here's the trailer. And then we're going to speak to these amazing creators right now. Here we go.
Kamusta kababayan ko? All my sexy panoys and panais.
Welcome to Fogtown, where over 60% of the population is Filipino.
Can you confirm that the restaurant incident is the work of the so-called taquito man?
What? This is the taquito everyone is talking about? It's not a taquito.
It's Lumpia, the Filipino egg roll. The motives of the Lumpia man are still unknown.
Lumpia man knows we're selling out Fogtown High.
What did I tell you about these kids? Love that. Lumpia! And love that.
Your sniper took down the mayor as planned.
My henchmen are trained to be 100% efficient.
Is that the egg roll man?
No, it ain't him.
Go! Hey, you can't eat that. Remember me? You're my hero.
Now's not the time to change the plan.
What plan?
What the?
Please tell me you're a good guy.
It's too Filipino.
It's like soy sauce and salsa getting married.
Armor together and harmony. Screw your mama's wedding. Fight the bully! You're all wrong! It's all because of this damn Lumpia man.
It took this long for me to find you. I'm not about to lose you, baby. You can be sure I love you forever.
No more! Fogtown will remember me! Taquito Boy!
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Check this out. We have our biggest group of people on the show virtually ever. Well, this is only our 4th show, so there hasn't been very many yet. So many amazing talented people. Thank you for blessing us with your presence virtually. We the team can't wait to meet y'all in person, to just thank you all for just what you're doing and inspiring us as Filipino Americans. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. But before we do that, I'm going to throw it to speaker view so you all can introduce yourselves. Patricio, why don't you start it up, man? You're the one that kind of started this whole ride. Let's go.
Hey guys, my name is Patricio Ginelsa. I'm the co-writer, the director, the producer of Lumpia with a Vengeance, and I also created this comic book here with my fellow teammates here.
I'm Lawrence Iriarte. I'm the producer, one of the producers, first AD on the movie Lumpia with a Vengeance, and I'm also an artist, writer, co-publisher with Pat on the comic book.
Hi, I'm Justin Quizon. I'm one of the associate producers of the film, and I wrote one of the stories in the comic. Woo!
Hey, my name's Varinder Singh. I'm one of the executive producers. I play a guy named Bob in the movie, and I got to co-write the story, The Life of Bob, in the comic.
My name is Jeffrey Fulgencio. I did the art cover, Ain't Nothing, or the G-Dog story and the Mon Mon story. And I'm a big fan of the first movie, and I was lucky enough that my fan art got recognized by Patricio, and I feel like that kind of started the whole momentum of the comic, and
got you on the train.
Great to be part of the family, part of this journey, and
you got the golden ticket.
I know. It's a golden Lumpia, whatever ticket, whatever you want to call it. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
I am Dante Fernandez. I am part of the stunt team for Lumpia with a Vengeance, and I also illustrated Justin's writing for the comic book.
Hey!
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to the ShoPowSho. We are super excited to have you guys on, and I'm sure you already know how I feel because y'all saw the review for the Nerds of Color. So
we were relieved when we read it. We're like, oh, okay, cool. He's a Lumpia lover.
You had it easy for a review, man. You had me sold already. So let's you guys recently talked about this on your Lumpia live webcast, which is for those that aren't aware of that and are fans of the Lumpia people already, the Lumpia team. Make sure you tune into that. There's a lot of great information. It makes me want to be like, damn, why couldn't I have been on the West Coast and become a part of these guys? Because y'all are like my kind of like my vibe, my soul. So we're just gonna have to make it happen for the next one. I think if y'all need an East Coast contingent, I'd be more than happy to represent.
Right on.
Yeah, put together Lumpia with a Vengeance 7 years ago. Am I right? And
we were crowdfunded 7 years ago. Yeah.
And then
we were crowdfunded 7 years ago. Yeah.
That's
sorry.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
and it's not because it's now coming out this weekend when we drop because this will drop right before it.
Mm-hmm.
I know the anticipation is there, but in that in between time of having it funded, you guys decided to do this comic book, and we have the some of the great talent behind the comic book here today. Let's talk about why the comic book and kind of how it came to being. And
well,
the manifested the idea. Like, we need to do a comic book, and well, it got funded through the Kickstarter already at the break, or so.
The movie was supposed to come out this past May. We were supposed to actually make a world premiere in May at a film festival, and then the pandemic actually canceled all the film festivals at that point. And so we took the extra time to not only finish and polish the movie, but also gave us the extra time to kind of reconnect with our backers and supporters, and that's why we restarted our live streams again. And in that live stream, we kind of did and we're nerds, right? We missed Comic-Con in San Diego.
Oh yeah, big time.
So we created this whole event called LumpiaCon, and we were using that to kind of introduce kind of the artists who not only illustrated the movie, but just make an announcement. And so at that point, we announced also we wanted to do a comic book. I mean, it was always something that we always wanted to do because we were so busy with the movie, never had time to do it before the May the launch. But then I think since we had the extra time, we said, hey, let's try to do a comic book, because it is a comic book movie.
It is.
And Lawrence here and a lot of us come from that world. So we figure, okay, well, let's see if we can get our audience to kind of, to like the idea. And we actually did the crowdfunder, and it actually was greenlit by our fans. So that became a project and we shot for October to finish it because it was Filipino American History Month. We didn't know we were gonna be chosen to make our world premiere in November. It just all happened like, it felt like it just the timing just couldn't be better.
Divine
that just happened to come out and in a few weeks, before the actual world premiere. So the comic book was inevitable. We wanted to do it, but I think because people got so excited, almost the same vibe as with the movie. I think the original crowdfunder got everyone excited to kind of like make the movie, and in this comic book, we were able to get other contributors, like even these folks here, to come to kind of create. Not only it was supposed to be like a 20 regular size comic book, and then they got expanded to 40 pages during this crowdfunder, and so. Some of these creators, Justin, for example, he was a writer, tried his hand. Varinder's never wrote a comic book before, and he tried it, and he had a great story. Dante, who's like our assistant stunt coordinator here. I had no idea he could draw, or I kind of knew he did, but they didn't know he could actually, so this was great things because this comic book now had a life of its own, and it became a passion project that just happens to be the prelude, right, to this movie, or the bridge between both Lumpia movies. So,
wow.
I have a question.
Sure.
Jeffrey, you said that your fan art got you noticed. Like,
yeah, during that time,
did you
maybe I can put it as my background if that's okay.
Can you? That's cool. Yeah, I want to see.
You're gonna love it.
Like, I'm big in fandoms, and I love a good fan work.
This is one of it. I did a few styles, kind of like the G Dog and the Mon when I did like a black and white kind of.
Yeah.
Sketchy.
We just have to hide Danny Trejo. We're not allowed to show his likeness. Just kidding. So
there we go.
We should call that fan art.
He's got a hat. He's got a hat on his head.
That is so cool that you have like a picture that you can.
There it is.
And be like, this was the setting.
Yeah, this is the art right there.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It was I think through Leroy that he posted something about Lumpia 2, and I knew about Lumpia 1 like in 2000 when it came out, and it's like, oh, what is this, homemade movie? And
you should explain who Leroy is. Actually, Leroy David was our original, the original
Comic
artist for Lumpia 1. He's the one who drew all the comics. He's actually the first ever Lumpia comic book artist.
I mean,
OG.
Actually, I met him through a Bay Area Battle of the Bay art show, and I didn't even know he did the Lumpia until he posted something about it, and I was like, oh. Then I did more research, looked at the credits. I was like, oh, he did the artwork, so that kind of got surreal for me. And at that point, I think I was motivated since the COVID pandemic happened, and I was like, I need something to draw. I need make my own project. So I just kind of watched the trailer and drew whatever based on the images I saw, and just kind of had fun with it. I just saw individual characters posing solely, and cartoon characters. So I just kind of went at it, and I guess I don't know how Patricio saw it, or I think I tagged them. I'm not sure what happened. But,
he made sure we saw it. He tagged. He made sure we tagged.
I mean, I do that to all my art. I mean,
as you should. Yeah, as you should.
I can tag other famous artists, but or directors, and there's a small chance they'll reach out to you and whatever and whatnot. But I was lucky enough that he reached out to me, and we kind of let's talk, let's Zoom, and see what we can do.
That's legit.
And it just made me feel like just kind of to all artists, just do fan art, and you might get noticed no matter where you are or how your skill level is and whatnot. So
that is sweet.
So one of the things I want to dive into before we get further on the comic book and the creation and all of that is how this was introduced to you. Were you aware of the original Lumpia film before this comic? So obviously Patricio was down since day one because you're involved with the first film, but for some of the outside creators that kind of got brought into the project, were you already aware of the Lumpia project at all in any form or fashion?
I was involved in the film. I was associate producer of the film for sure. And so I was definitely there on of this. Well, no, if you're talking about the first movie, okay.
Yes.
The first movie. Okay. So how I found about the first film, I was in film school in 2007. And I was basically prepping my Filipino action martial arts comedy and for my graduation film. And I was looking up short films or trailers that may, try and see if there was anything Filipino stuff that I can look up. And then I stumbled onto the Lumpia trailer. And that trailer is such a well-edited trailer. And I can tell that they were, and it was clear that the film was shot on this really very basic video setup. But that was such a well-edited trailer, which I found out was AJ who did we edited the film and he did the trailer. But I was really obsessed with that trailer. When I gotta see that movie one day. And I finally got a copy of it at a Filipino festival that I was volunteering at. and got around to watching it, and I'm like, this movie is pretty rad. And so I eventually met Pat like maybe 2 years after that, after I saw that film, and we both found out how extremely nerdy we are. And he brought me on to work on some projects, including this one, because he found out I was a writer myself, and so that's how I eventually got involved with the second film.
Love it.
Well, Mark Elfane, who's the stunt coordinator of Lumpia with a Vengeance, he had a copy of Lumpia, and we watched it together before doing, training for the stunt work on this film. And I was amazed by, all the action in the film. And I was like, oh, they're getting Mark Munoz to play Kuya? I was like, we're doing this, right? We're doing this stunt work, right? And yeah, after that, it was just the best experience ever.
I know I got involved. I work with Joel Kabatic, who plays Michael in the first film. And he had been telling me for a while, like, hey, my friend, he's a director. We made a movie when we were kids. You should watch it. So he'd been saying that for like 2 years. And I didn't feel very comfortable watching like a video that he was giving me of them when they were kids. And what it was. So I was like, I don't know. And anyways, so he's like, no, you got to check this out. So I watched the movie and I loved it. I loved it so much that the next day I went to him and he said, well, he's getting investors together for the second movie. I said, right now, call him up right now. Let's go. I'll write the check right now. And he goes, you should check with your wife. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I need to talk to my wife first.
You're the kind of friend I need. Shoot. Yeah. Hey, we're about to be best friends, Varinder.
Yeah. No, that was important. So I talked to my wife, because it had always been my dream to like kind of act and kind of be a part of a film production. And, I just related to the film so much with all the different messages. So I had that first phone call with Pat. And I think right off the bat with that first phone call,
but you were just a background talent. You didn't tell them you started out as an extra first.
Yeah, I started out as an extra, and then I just kind of move in front of the camera. Was that what it was?
I didn't ask for investment yet from you yet, but then I was just like, you loved it. You loved the vibe. I think that was the whole thing. You understood who we were, and I was like, I didn't have to explain what Lumpia was to you. You knew what it was.
Yeah, no, right off the bat. Yeah, I had Lumpia. I have a lot of Filipino friends, and so I had Lumpia my whole life, and so being there felt like family and being home too. So just the environment and everything. And so I invested. And then right after that, my little brother invested too, just like a couple months after that. So yeah, we both came on as executive producers, and then we've been having fun ever since that was June 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember the time. The timeline has kind of collapsed.
I wrote a big check.
You should have remembered.
That's super dope.
Pat's movie came to the college that I was teaching at the time, and so it was who would be his wife later on was one of the representatives. Mel actually came in and was representing the film along with a group and just hyping it up. And I kept on hearing, as a professor, I was a professor there teaching film, and all my students were actually telling me, you got to check out this film. I walked in and I couldn't believe watching this film. I was like, oh my God, this is a bunch of kids, and just like, even just the whole thing of that, it's Lumpia, and just, it was funny. The audience was packed. I just remember how the college I was teaching at, it was just so hyped, and the vibe was just so in the air, and everybody was laughing, and I was laughing. And I honestly said, man, I wish I could have been part of this. I wish I knew that this was going to happen. And years later, not even years later, it's just weirdly enough, one of my students wound up working with Pat's editor, who AJ, who edits our film, and he's also a producer. AJ wound up giving me a call because my student put me in touch with AJ, and they were looking for a first AD, and that actually formulated I think a decade of our collaboration together, right, Pat? It's been about.
I forget which music video was that. The Hopies.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was the one with the cake. It was the one with the.
Oh yeah, the Hopies. Yeah, Hopies.
Yeah.
The yummy music video. Yeah.
So so they pulled me in, and AJ introduced me to Pat, and Pat didn't even know who I was, and he was like, "This is your first AD," and we made it work. Not just made it work. We just clicked. I actually could say we clicked as a team, and I liked his vision, and And somewhere along the way, we revealed our nerd selves as we appeared at a Comic-Con together. And just I just love for the fact I could honestly say every best friend I have, every close friend I have, every family member who is a comic book guy, and Pat is truly one of those family members that I have now because he's a comic book guy and we just bonded. And this is a dream. Who would have known that I was going to be a producer, let alone nerd the comic? So this was great.
That's super dope. So you decide to make the comic book. You find all these amazing creators that are aware of the prior Lumpia film. Let's talk about getting the talent together. I believe Lawrence, you're the kind of like the head. You were the editor for everything. So was it you working in conjunction with
Stan Lee?
Stan Lee.
I was the Filipino Stan Lee.
There we go.
You have the voice and everything. That's how we talk.
So how is it finding all this amazing talent to get involved and work on this project?
We were on. I will say it over and over. We were blessed with such great people around us, with such great talent. Dante was showing his stuff on his own, not necessarily Lumpia related. Justin is a writer, and he, his penmanship is in our film, and then having Jeffrey come around, it was just amazing. And then people who supported us showed that they had interest in the film. And we were blessed. I'm never going to say lucky. I'm going to say we were truly blessed with just like from people who were veterans and from the director from Float, and X-Men fame Will Patricio who came on and who's done our poster, as you can see back here. He did one of our promotional posters that we have for the film. So we have this collective, and it's almost like a no-brainer to go, hey, it's like come and join the sandbox. We have this crazy idea, like let's take the first comic book idea that was in the first film, and we're gonna just go all out, to the wall with this next one. And that was, I told Pat that it was my big goal is to do. I literally said I want to do like a Marvel comic book, just go all out with it. And this is the dream. And of course, we had such enthusiastic folks right here with us that made it happen, man. Such incredible talent, and they took all our notes.
Shucks, Lawrence.
they took all our notes, What is this? You think this is script? Put this back and do another one. You think you can draw this? Draw another one. I got a chance to play Stanley literally, and it's been a blast, man. It's been a blast. So.
Justin, why don't we throw it to you? Why don't you talk about your experience working? So you got onto this project. Describe putting your element, your stamp on it.
So basically, I knew about the comic, obviously because Pat Vase was talking to me about the comic book, and the hilarious part is I don't know why my brain never thought he was going to ask me if I was interested in writing anything. I don't know why I never thought that. I just figured, cool, that's a cool idea. I figured Pat, I'm not going to lie, I thought Pat was going to write the whole thing. And when he was talking to me about the comic, and I figured mostly we were like, oh, how can we, I thought we were going to have talks about how to promote it and ideas of what we should do on etc. He was like, oh, dude, did you want to write something? And I sat there and went, yeah, sure. And it was funny because like I sat there for 2 seconds and he's like, what do you have in mind? And I kid you not, the idea of the comic came immediately after he asked me, because I knew the comic was going to be about a bunch of the other characters in the film. And I don't know how it came that fast, but when I came up with the story, I was like, because I guess I'll pinpoint a little bit, but there's a character that I'm writing in the comic that will make he has a couple of scenes in the film. And he might be probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. And I just thought, I had an idea like that character would be perfect for a comic book. And so I pitched him like, I want to do the day in the life of this one character. And the character is known for a specific trait. And I thought it'd be hilarious because it's a comic book. I wanted to utilize little to no dialogue. So I told him like, I kind of want this to be like 4 pages of weird silent cartoon, like like mostly gags. like for the nerds out there who probably get this reference, like I wanted to do the comedic version of the Snake Eyes issue of G.I. Joe. And so like I just figured like that was my pitch, and Pat was like, "You came up with that real fast." So I went, "Yeah, I don't know where that came from." And so yeah, and then he said like, "Just make it like 4 pages, and we should be good." I went, "Cool," and I hung up. He hung up, and I was like, "Oh no!" And now I have to write it.
But
Every writer ever.
That script came by so quick. I think that was something that I was so I was so impressed with, was that I think so you have a week or so, and you came up with it like, and you delivered
day.
the next day.
Yeah,
which
was the day.
so. I think it was weird that you were inspired by it that quickly. You know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, hey, when it comes to you, it comes to you. I had this vision of this weird dude who's really goofy, and I guess he came by really fast. And I had a very specific idea how I wanted the comic to look. I remember being very specific to Pat and Lawrence. Like I kind of wanted to, because I knew the comic, because I've already seen some of the other art already, that I'm like, oh, my comic should totally look silly. It should definitely look like a cartoon. And to kind of stick out a little more graffiti-ish style. And I didn't know who we were going to get for a while. They didn't. And I had faith they were going to find somebody. And when I did see the art, I was like, perfect. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Hilarious that no one told me it was Dante.
I didn't know it was going to be Dante. I had no idea it was going to be Dante. I didn't know he could do that style until I saw his portfolio. He was so used to. I knew he did more paintings and stuff and portraits.
Yeah.
But there was like that one Instagram post, right, Dante? Remember there was like one.
It was a cartoon I did for my wife's pregnancy. It was like a daily blog on my wife's pregnancy.
I remember that. Yeah, you did a whole series of it, the sperm, the sperm. I remember that. The sperm finding its way to the egg. It was like, and then I took that, and then I was like, oh, cool. That could totally fit that cartoonist style could fit Justin's story. So that's how Dante came on board for that. For the
I loved it when I first saw it, because I was like, great. And when I found out it was Dante, I was like, you mean the guy who get punched down at the beginning of the film? That's awesome. I didn't know that. And so I was really excited to find out it was not only somebody who was the exact art style I wanted it to look like, but also like legitimately one of our stuntmen in the film, which is really wild. And I'm kind of really excited about that. So great job, Dante, by the way. I'm glad
Thank you, Justin. Thank you.
That is really cool. How do you get into those seem so like different?
Are you talking about?
You're a Renaissance man. How does one stunt, like which one came first? Were you more like into art?
Well, I've always been into art as a kid, but I never after high school I went straight into the military, and then after the military I wanted to do stunts, but then work wasn't coming in, so I was like, oh, let me get my degree in art and everything. So I did that, but then I wasn't getting any artwork, and I was doing more so I was getting more stunt work, so it kind of flip-flopped. And then Pat notices my portraits and stuff, and then he asked me to do a variant cover. And then he was like, hey, your variant cover is well received, so would you like to do an illustration for one of the stories? I was like, maybe. He was like, yeah, you have 4 pages and you have to do it in 4 weeks. I was like, because I don't do comics. Like I draw cartoons, but I've never really done a comic. So I was like, I wanted to challenge myself. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then luckily I had Lawrence with me telling me how to make it a comic book style. I didn't know what Zipatone was until Lawrence told me what Zipatone was. Really? And that really brought out more in my artwork for this project. So thanks, Lawrence.
That's really cool.
You grew as an artist through doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So from background to producer to writer on a comic book, Varinder. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how, what about Bob, I believe, and just talk about that whole story and how you came to work on the comic book.
Well, actually, What About Bob would have been a great title. It's actually The Life of Bob.
Die for Bob. I'm sorry.
But What About Bob would have been awesome, actually. Now, dang it. See, this is one of those.
Same for the sequel, Varinder. Same for the sequel.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Nice. No, it was for me. It was similar to Justin. I was having a conversation with Pat, but it was more like the girl that wanted to be asked to the dance. I was like, "Oh, hey, so you writing a comic book? Oh, it's so cool. Is so you probably have like writers and stuff." So that's cool. And then finally, like the question came, "So you want to write one?" Yeah, sure. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. And I think I similarly sent my story back. I think within 15 minutes, like 4 bullets. And it was like, Pat's like, "Oh, you've never written a comic book before." I was just really excited. And then so trying to come up with the story was a problem because everything either blended with either the Jungle Book, Aladdin, or the Life of Pi. So I couldn't, you know what I mean? I mean, I started off Bob on a boat with the tiger, and I was like, "No, can't do that." And then I had like, okay, he's a street rat growing up. Nope, can't do that. He can't make it to the palace. So finally, like I kind of, okay, there's the character in the film. Let me work backwards and see how he can kind of become the Bob in the film. And so I got to learn a lot from Pat, learn about kind of how to kind of draft the scripts, kind of jot down my ideas, and then went back and forth probably like 20 times, Pat. And then
that's the last time we counted.
yeah. So but then it was a great experience. It was educational for me, so it was really good. It was really good.
So you played Bob in the.
And I played Bob, yeah. And so
you like this was just like a really intense acting exercise, right? You just got to write like and illustrate or receive the illustration of your entire backstory.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a really good experience. So I could, I'm building the character, afterwards. But
Varinder was never happy with his character. The
no, not at all.
Gave him a chance to reboot his character.
I wanted him to be Samosa Man. Like I wanted him to be able to be like the sidekick, of Lumpia Man, and just like, oh no, I ran out of Lumpia. Don't worry, I have a friend. And then, from the shadows rises Samosa Man, right? Like Pat didn't go for that at all. So,
Yet.
Yes. Edit this part out. I can still put it in number 3.
Just keep wearing him down, dude. Just keep wearing him down.
Exactly. Don't listen to the haters.
It's all about the fans. Get the fans to love it.
Yeah.
Just keep texting him, sending him mimosas. You should be fine. Samosas, you should be fine.
Yeah. And that was another thing too. So when everything was done, so having just kind of being involved with this film, getting to act, getting to write a comic book, you start thinking you can do, pretty much anything. And I've never sang a song in my life before. I asked Pat if I could be on the soundtrack, and Pat is so good with his reverse Jedi mind tricks. He came, Varinder, I don't think we can afford a song from you. And I was like, no, you know what? You can afford a song from me. I'm going to send this directly to the labels. I don't need you. I'm going to send this to, Cash Money, Dear Mr. Baby, Dear Mr. Little Wayne, and I'm sending this out, and it's just, but I don't know. Anything is possible now. I mean, I've done so many amazing things now. So
and I just tell Varinder, it's already locked. We already shipped out the movie.
We're done. The credits are rolling, Varinder.
I wanted like the We Are the Children, We Are the World song, as a together. I can just have one falsetto in the back, kind of like a
being to Samosa.
Something. Yeah. So,
oh man, I love it. I love it. I love the high that you get after, you see just the beauty of a project and coming together to put together a project. You get that high. I can understand that. I feel you on that. And I'm sure you're going to feel it even more once the film premieres this Sunday or Saturday.
Oh my God.
It's going to be insane. You're going to be on a whole nother stratosphere.
Oh my God.
Now that it'll be out, because all that stress of getting it out, all that expectation will be done. It's there. The world is consuming it. So I love it. Let's talk about some other highlights of putting together this project. One of the things I pointed out in the article, and actually a little story real quick. San Diego Comic-Con, I was there last year and hadn't met Quincy Victoria yet. We've talked together online. Project that I did not too long ago, somebody was like, hey, you should check this guy out because he's got this character that fights with eskrima sticks, and he's like, you should check it out. So I've checked it out, got in touch with him. Then there was another artist, but long story short, he posted some images from Lumpia, and I was like, okay, I remember this cult film from the West Coast, because I'm an East Coast cat, and it, the news about Lumpia made it all the way out here. And I was like, oh, I remember that. He was like, you should check me out. I'll be at San Diego. And I know because I was going to link up with Wills, because I know Wills from doing other conventions as well, who's a legend, Wills Prelude. I know y'all know that. But I was like, I'm gonna meet up with Wills. So we were trying to time meeting at Quincy's table or Wilson's table, and that's where I got my Lumpia with a Vengeance poster that Wills did. So I have that in my gym right now, with all my other Filipino pride stuff, because the blood of Lapu Lapu runs through these veins, and I need to know that when I'm lifting weights. So, but yeah, we try to link up, and I told him, I heard more about this project, and I was like, at some point when I get this podcast that I want to do off the ground, which happened this year, I'd love to link up and talk with you guys. So it's kind of wild how just everything comes together, and how my girl Lauren Lola with the Nerds, she was like, hey, they got this comic book. Will you want to review it? I'm like, yes. And so it's just wild. And now you guys are here on the ShoPowSho. But let's just talk about you got Wills, the legend, involved. You got my man Bobby Rubio. I was out at Pixar because I did coverage for Toy Story 4 and for Onward, and got to meet and get in close with Bobby. Just some great people, and just you got legends in the game involved with this. And you guys are, again, you may not think you guys are it or superstars, but you've inspired a lot of people through what you did. That's why I know that's why the community got behind you, and they're going to continue to get behind you to support everything you're going to do with the Lumpia franchise. You got a freaking con, man. You have Lumpia Con. God, if you want to patting yourselves on the back, I don't understand why. That humility, put that away, man. You guys are legends. You're doing it. I'm proud of you guys. But I'm talking too much because I'm just excited for you guys. I just love seeing my people succeed, and y'all are doing it. Patricio, Lawrence, talk about some highlights.
I mean, we're fans first. I mean, I think that's why Lawrence, and even before I call myself a filmmaker, and I think even throughout the years, even when I met Wills, I nerded out. We were working actually. It's funny because the election day is this Tuesday. Our first project together, my first project with Wills was a PSA to get people to get the vote out. And that was my first time working with Wills, and I remember we shot that during Comic-Con. And so I had a specific window to shoot him and then return him because he had to do a panel. And we were talking for hours. It was hard to we nerded out together. That was and that's the one thing I think once you realize and you meet your heroes, and you meet a hero that's just like a nerd like you. And I think that's where I've always gravitated to it. And you're right. You meet someone like Bobby Rubio at Pixar and Quincy, and we're all like our DNA is the same. We're all like we all have this passion not just for comic books but for our culture, And so it's I look. Did I know that this little concept about a guy who throws lumpia when I was a teenager, like this little ridiculous concept would have like blown out and expanded as far? No. But I think that's where it starts, right? This little nugget of an idea that people just kind of gravitated to. You create this platform, this movie that that people got excited about, and then we expanded. So I always look back at that. This started because a bunch of Filipino kids in a Daly City neighborhood got together and shot movies together, and now has slowly expanded to include Hollywood icons like Danny Trejo. I mean, that's the most trippiest part, when your childhood friend is acting alongside a Hollywood icon. And then now we're expanding it to the comic book world, and I think we even have soundtrack artists like Jocelyn Enriquez is in there. So even having like these these folks that really inspired me growing up because they were so influential in our culture, then to work with them, I mean, you're right. It hasn't hit me yet, and we're always kind of humble about that, but because we're it's community building, it's always about that. And so we've always, and I think that's why this comic book project is so was important for me to do, not because it was just another extra element of marketing for the movie, but because I knew that a lot of our collaborators had that itch to do something, and they were talented, and I wanted to have a platform that could showcase their talents, But the money's never always there. That's the problem, right? I think as a business model, but I think that's why the crowdfunding was such an important element, not only to get the movie made, but also get this comic book project, because already it forces you to have these deadlines because you knew that there are people waiting for it. So we can, it's not easy for us to just give up on a project, whether it's the movie or this comic book. It's it's okay, forget it. I've lost interest in this. There are people actually waiting. There's an audience waiting for it. That's what kept us going, not only for the movie, but even for this comic book project. So, I think having that base and that hunger, and in finding folks like you, Patrick, who are, who are her like-minded, same passion. And that's how we are able to connect. And, it's I don't know, it's an amazing feeling to have that. And to think it started off with just some kids in Daly City, doing it together.
What I found when we were doing this, I mean, from the very beginning of this film, I mean, just how common our love and passions for this fan stuff, just from the toys, from the cartoons. I mean, I talked to Justin about, Ultraman and, Kamen Rider and, just things that we grew up with. And this really is part of our DNA. And Lumpia, the movie really just festers in that, of just the love of things of your neighborhood. This is the stuff that we grew up in our neighborhood. We came together from comic books. I mean, literally to me, this is like a clubhouse, they say, hey, let's get together and pull out, what did you buy? You bought the X-Men, you bought the Batman, you bought, Spider-Man, and then you bought Fantastic Four, you bought this. And then we read for about 20 minutes and then we exchange it. To me, that's what this is all about, is that feeling of community, of fans, and the love of the things that just really fill your heart, and I love this. I mean, I will say it over and over and over. I love this project, and I believed in it with Pat, I believed in his vision, but just to do a comic book, is just like it almost, I'm almost in tears just to go, oh my God, here it is, it's like, here's those kids on the screen of Lumpia 1. We're together, doing the comic book, readership exchange and doing work and doing not just work, we're creating together and imagining together, this. So it's become an outlet for us. And the funny thing is, you find out when you start working, when you start reaching out, just how many others are like from you and how much you are in sync. A quick story here is that when Pat and I were doing our promotional and reaching out to the community, we got the chance to meet Bobby Rubio. It turns out Bobby Rubio, myself, and Will Patricio come from the same era. We're from the same art and comic book era, meaning that we were doing the conventions together, and he and we have commonality history. So we found out our back history going, oh my God, you were that guy from that building, and Will's was this person from that table. So it's interesting that we are able to find the history, and then now we're like brothers and sisters together, kind of like, hey, that's, looking at each other's art and, it just creating together. It's such a great vibe. And that's what I found for me, for Lumpia, that has become a community of rediscovery of friends in your neighborhood and what inspired you. And it's right in front of us, so, yeah, it's been a blessing. It's not luck. I just really say it really has been a blessing.
So I wanted to say, you've had such great success from something that started so small. What would be your advice to someone who's looking at what you've done and been like, and is thinking, well, I'd love to do something like this, but I just don't even know where to begin?
I mean, Jeffrey's a good example. I mean, he was inspired. He happened to watch the first movie and he created this fan art that got noticed and he tagged us, I think for me, I'm very drawn to people who are very genuinely like fans of what we do. If anyone who knows me, it's hard for me to say no to anything. I mean, even with the 2 decades I've done all these music videos, I've never said no to an artist before. I've always done it, regardless of any budget. Just I believe in really promoting other people's work if they're, as long as, we're on the same page. And so I think as an artist moving up, I think a lot of it is really developing your voice. And I think I think the core of it is that if you have something really cool to say, something that needs to be heard, it's a story that needs to be universally be heard, you can, the part, and you kind of grasp at what that voice is, whether it's visually or artistic or however platform you use your voice to, singing, which Varinder is still working on, but I think that's the whole point. I think it's not to be scared and gain that confidence. I think a lot of people have a really cool voice, but they just haven't built that confidence. So how do you build that confidence so that it's okay for you to kind of like, oh, this is me, I'm confident, this is my voice, you can't unfilter it, this is cool. And for me myself, it took a while. I mean, I think the one thing I was been proud of for the first Lumpia movie is that we got it done. I mean, that movie, I don't think a lot of people know, is that it took us 7 years to get that film, and we never finished shooting that movie that first summer when we shot it. It was just really a project to shoot for fun. But when AJ got a hold of it, he created the trailer. It it forced me actually to look at that movie in a different light. It was like, oh my God, this is actually a cool thing. So in a way, AJ kind of molded my voice and gave me a lot of confidence to actually finish that movie. And I think that's the reason how, AJ and myself, that's why we've collaborated for 2 decades, is that we've kind of meshed in terms of just being on that same level. So, and he empowered me really to start developing and writing. And this comic book is another example of me. I've always was not really, didn't see really myself as a writer. I never thought of that was my strength before. But I think because after finishing the draft of the script for the movie, the feature, I got so like, oh my God, I could write anything. And then this comic book came in, and I said, I never wrote a comic book really, and that gave me power. So I don't know. It's given me so much confidence that I can, whatever challenge I can do. I myself am still learning that I can write anything now, so anyway, that's really what I'm saying. That I think as an artist is that once you build that confidence, I mean, your talent can show, I think, and then these are everyone here in this Zoom windows, these are folks here that I believe, and I'm very proud of what they did. When I saw what the comic book was developing into, because you don't know what the comic book is going to look like in the end, but as we were developing our teams and seeing where the stories were, I mean, me and Lawrence were kind of stepping back. We're like, wow, I think we have something here. Like it gave me so much confidence. Like, oh my God, I need people to watch this right now. And that's why I kind of chipped it off to music. Like we felt very good about what we had as a product, that we were so excited to show it to people.
Yeah.
So
if I could give like 3 things to anybody out there, because a lot of people don't realize that I've been a ghost artist for over 25 years, and this is the first time my name's ever been out. My name, my art, and my artwork is out there in the forms of other people's work, assisting. But this is the first time, and that's 25 years of believing. So the first thing is like, you got to believe in your dream. And the second thing is, you just can't give up. So you got to try in whatever format it is, whether it's a sketch book, or something that you're writing a song, you want to sing Varinder, you just keep on doing it. You just work at it. So you got to believe that this is the thing that you want to do the most, or at least attached to it. And whether the journey for you is going to be a year, 3 months, 2 months, 25 years in my case, you just got to believe that this is what you're meant to do, or you're going to do at one point or another, whether you put it in a back burner or not. And then you got to do something about it. You got to just keep on doing it. The third thing I think that's been probably the most powerful thing that's made Lumpia very successful, both in film and hopefully now in this comic book, which I'm very, very, very ecstatic about, is people. You have to connect. It's probably going to be the biggest and hardest step for everybody, is to make that connection. And I have to say, the comic book is a culmination for myself as a professional. My mentors have guided me from the industry, from the comic book industry. It comes from years of just being under their guidance and talking to them in the conventions and doing work and whatnot. So when you read the comic book, when you get to one of the stories I've done, it's an homage to those people and a certain figure. Frank Miller is one of those people, and you have to talk to them. You have to make a connection and it doesn't have to be a big, I shouldn't say a big name, but a name that's very well known. But you connect with somebody that you connect with, that whether it's on a writer level, an inker level, a letterer level. Tom Orsowski, who did X-Men for 30 years, was the guy that I reached out to be able to letter our comic book. So reach out to people that you really admire or aspire to be, and make that connection. And believe it or not, when you show your work, you connect with them, something will build if they see you time and time again and just say, hey, I've done this now. And don't give up. Just don't give up. Those 3 things, if you put that into your DNA, something's going to happen. And Lumpia is a testament to that, both in comic book and film, is one day, if you keep on working at it and believing it, and you got to believe in it, because if you don't believe in it, if you yourself don't believe in your path, your journey, your aspirations, your dreams, how is the outside force going to believe in it as well? But you have to. And Pat and I and the group that we put together, this group and the group who did the movie, have belief. So believe.
I love that. I love that. So I want to bring Jeffrey back into the conversation as well as Dante. For you, Jeffrey, from doing fan art to now working on this comic book, and it's now a reality, it's done, it's out there. How do you feel about that? You know, now that realization, you've done it, and being a part of this Lumpia story.
I mean, I think like Dante, he said he never did comics, and I mean, I did comics in like college, you know, like whatever for myself, but nothing like printed and your name on it and art covered this and all that. So it's kind of surreal, especially when you do the promo on Instagram. It's like my cover and whatever. It's like, man, I feel like, you know, the shit. It's like it's real, you know. But I mean, ever since she like reached out to me, it's like, you know, wow, you know, it's like an opportunity, you know. Do I say no or yes? You know, it's like whatever it is, I don't care. You want me to sing or dance? Sure.
Brenda's looking for some backup singers here.
I know, like I'll YouTube it, whatever, whatever it takes to be a part of it. But yeah, so doing this comic, you know, got the, you know, artistic flows going, you know. I mean, I love the ideas and creativity that we all have, and just putting it out there in the universe, whether it's good or not, you know, whether it succeeds or fails, it's like it's there, it's out there. That's my legacy. That's me. That's my imprint in the world, you know, after this lifetime. So I think it's awesome, and you know, this comic book will, you know, be here or hopefully return in another a decade or 2 years or 20 years, you know, making history or whatnot. So it's especially means a lot to me because, you know, I guess I feel like I'm a struggling artist trying to get out there, you know, like Lawrence Willie, you know, it's hard to get your name out there or try to be noticed, I guess, and I guess be famous as Bobby Rubio and Will Patricio, and you just kind of gotta believe in yourself and just kind of keep at it, and just find the motivation to kind of push yourself in like the darkest areas of your life, and you know, just kind of find inspiration, and just kind of seen that movie. I mean, the trailer that Leroy posted kind of brought that back, and I was kind of fresh. I didn't know it was like made in 2000 or completed in 2013. I just found out like this year, like what? It's coming out this year. So I didn't know like the 7-year, you know, wait or period. So to me, it was like fresh to me, and I'm glad to kind of keep that, you know, train moving again, and it's awesome for the timing, especially, you know, this month and the movie coming out soon, and it just kind of feels like, you know, pieces are being in place at the perfect time, even though it's 25 years down the road or 3 years coming soon. So
Hey Jeffrey, we should announce. I think no one knows here, but we should announce exactly the project that you're working on next. We haven't really announced it. There's a variant cover.
Do we have an exclusive?
Yeah, we have an exclusive. We have an exclusive.
Oh.
So there is one more variant. I know we have 13 variant covers for this one issue already, but there is a 14th cover that was commissioned by a store, and Will Patricio was actually drawing it, and Jeffrey is going to be coloring coloring. The inks just actually came in this weekend, and Jeffrey got like, what? So I don't know. I'm sorry for chiming in here, but I just want to ask Jeffrey, how did it feel? Because now he's connected to Wilsh, and you're about to undertake this coloring job now for him.
For a legend.
Like, I don't feel like, I don't know if it's everyone like who kind of feels like I'm not really, I don't feel like I'm a comic book artist or colorist, but you know, how can you say no to that? So it's like, sure, why not? And I'll just not sleep and figure that you know, push myself to my limits and just, you know, say I colored Willish artwork, and that's what I love, like just opportunities that come. I mean, I'm grateful to meeting you guys, and just, you know, hopefully one after another, you know, new things will come. I mean, I don't mind being a stunt double or
I got you. I
took some martial arts, so you know,
man of all trades.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully get started soon, or hopefully tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeffrey. Dante, let's bring you back in one more time too, to talk about, you know, this from taking hits, from taking flips to now, you know, laying the pen down and doing art, and you're having a comic book, man.
So basically, I didn't even know, you know, I thought I was just going to be doing stunts for the whole project. I never knew I was going to bring my artwork into the whole mix of things. So like, just when I saw the finished product, the PDF, and I saw my name like right under Will's name, I was like, is this happening right now? Is my name like this, like practically kissing Will's name? So it was just like a mind-blowing experience, like the like just the scope of it all. And like, there were times working on the comic where I was just like, this is a lot of work. I have such a profound respect for all comic book artists all around the world now, because like, you got 4 weeks to do 4 pages. I was like, I got this. I don't got this. So, but it was Lawrence's words that like pushed me. He was like, yo, this is a world premiere comic book. Like, you'll never have this chance ever again, or you may not, you know. It's just, this is your time to shine right now. And I just pushed forward and finished the dang thing. So thank you again, Lawrence, and thank you again, Pat, for like putting me on this. And to all the people that are out there listening, like, just keep doing the work and say yes.
Like, Dante, if it means anything, I didn't know this was your first comic book. And so when I saw the pages, I just figured you were doing this for a while. And
Nope.
so, well, you could
There
have
you
fooled
go.
me. Could have fooled me. Because I thought they like came out great, and like, and just figured like, oh, I didn't know Dante was also a comic book artist, and I didn't. And today I just found out Dante drew I literally made Dante draw his first comic book. That's what I just found out today.
That's so cool. Amazing.
But yeah, learning on the fly, man. It was an amazing experience.
You guys I have to say, these guys did remarkable. You know, everybody's so-called first time. You know, just to see from the scripts, from the, you know, the dialogue that went on. I mean, truly, then the thumbnails. I wish people could have seen what Pat and I were seeing. Just the evolution of every story. It's just incredible what these guys were churning out in short a period of time, and working under the gun and the schedule of a professional comic book artist, a regular comic book artist, because it had to be done by a certain time, because it had to go through another process for us, you know, of lettering, you know, lettering the entire book, and then making sure that the entire layout was correct. You know, we were working under the gun as a professional, and so
while trying to finish a movie, mind you, like
while trying to finish.
AJ got so mad because it's like, why are you not QCing or approving these visual effects shots now? Like, I got another. I didn't want to tell them I'm working on the comic book. It's like,
It's like we were like literally just tagging back and forth. And I enjoyed though. What I enjoyed for me is like I got a chance to really play Stan Lee. I was getting these incredible pieces of artwork in my lap, and then getting a chance to talk to Jeffrey. Hey, can you do a little this? Can you push this up? Can you bring this down? Can you add this texture? How about we do this down? And then and then he goes, I'll try. And then he did. Not only did he did that, he went back and then he pushed it even more. Same thing with Dante. It's just every level of even the writing as we were like going through figuring out panels of how we were going to execute this. Justin and I, had this chance to look at the script and say, hey, what are you trying to do here? And it fulfilled a lot of things for all of us as comic.
That was a fun
fans.
Day, by the way. That was a fun day, Lawrence, when you and me were on the phone. On Zoom, and just like going like, I want to convey this, and I'm not sure if I wrote it right. And you were like, no, look, do this. And I went, that actually makes more sense. Yeah, let's do it that way. And it was a lot of fun to refine the script with you. That was a fun afternoon.
I loved it because I could hear you telling me what you're trying to do, and just coming from a background from years back, I was able to go, hey, I think I learned something. I just it's like, this is what so and so was telling me what to do, and so it was great, Varinder, just looking at your script and then translating that script with Jenny, another talented artist who did the Bob story. She was wonderful, and she was able to refine every bit of that script. And when you see that, if you haven't seen the comic book yet, you've seen it, Kuya, you've actually seen the Bob story of just how the styles were dictated and how it had to form a particular styles. There's so many different styles in this that there's something for an anime person. There's something for, a manga person. There's somebody, from every level. There is something that truly says comic book. We weren't just doing a superhero comic book. There is that, which, I'm really proud to deliver my Miller dedication of something that if you love Daredevil, I think you're gonna dig this story.
Oh yeah.
It's there, we deliver on every level. And you look at Jeff actually has two stories, and he delivers two different styles. One of them of a film noir style traditional comic book, and as well as an animated, which was so appropriate for the subject of the story. So there's choices and a deliberate, everything was deliberately done. And if you're a comic book fan, if you're an animation fan, if you're a manga fan, I think you'll find if you pick up the Lumpia comic book at your store or order it, you're going to be happy, and then you go to the movie to check it out. You're like, what's the, it's even another thing, it's just fun.
I love it. Well, you guys delivered, as y'all saw from the review. Yeah, it was the package I was looking for as a fan, and it came through. You guys talked a little bit about this, so I don't want to steal some of that thunder from the Lumpia Live webcast. If you're not checking that out, you need to go check that out, because they're going to give you their Lumpia updates. And I'm still sure even after this week, because we want to have this universe continue. You finished this first one, but there was mention on this last Friday broadcast that we may get a part 2. It's somewhat on the way. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Lumpiaverse.
Yeah.
Lumpiaverse.
It's cool you're bringing this up, because me and Justin were kind of talking about it earlier today in terms of, and it depends on the response of it. Obviously, we're still shipping out the comic books as we speak, and slowly people are discovering this first issue for the first time, and hopefully with them discovering what this movie is actually about, and they dig it. We're definitely launching the second issue. I think that's one thing that we're always teasing. I personally always saw the Lumpia with a Vengeance comic book as 3 issues, so the prelude, the second issue would be the interlude. So these are stories that happen within the events of the actual movie. And then the epilogue part would have been like, what happens after the film. So that was kind of like, it was never meant to be a monthly thing. I think it would have been released during the, whatever we're fortunate enough with the movie's release, whether, because this is just a film festival debut that's happening, right? So obviously we still have the San Francisco and LA premiere happening in 2021, and hopefully eventually if we're lucky to get picked up by a distributor, which is obviously the main goal, that maybe we do have a more wider theatrical release sometime next year. So a lot of it is hopefully it hits these certain checkpoints. But me and Justin were also even talking about spinoffs from this. You know, we could spoil this because people already have the comic book, but even within the comic book, there's like these we call them the rogues gallery, right? There are these characters or villains that don't really exist in the movie per se, but they're kind of like if the Lumpia man is actually a comic book person, you know, there's a cartoon. What would this world be? So it's in a way, we are thinking maybe even. If again, it depends on the demand is there, that we could probably even launch some of these smaller stories that you see here into their own comic books, their own titles. I mean that's a dream. You know, I can reveal that here. It'd be nice to have titles, but I mean, you know, that can only happen if there's a demand for it, and it always goes back to the crowdfunder. So step by step, the next step obviously is something that we teased in issue 1, is that if you want to see the second issue of this particular Lumpia with a Vengeance title, you know, sign up to get notice when the next crowdfunder begins. So we have, if you go to lumpiamovie.com/comics, we have this little button. Or you just hit it, and then once we do decide to launch this crowdfunder for the next one, you'll be notified, and hopefully you can help us. You know, and definitely these guys here are gonna get first dibs on what they want to do. I mean, they earned that. So, you know, so whether they say yes or no, it's really up to them. But I'd love, if there's any particular stories you wanted, you know, Patrick, I know you've read it. Was there something, I don't know, like another story you wanted to see more of? We live in this bubble, right? Because we know the movie in and out, we've seen it. So we don't know, you know, the Prelude actually just introduces these characters. I'm curious what people who actually read it or seen it, like, is there a you know, is this character? I don't know. And that's like, what I want to hear feedback. I think it's one thing that all of us creators want to know. You know, like, because if the demand's there, we'll make sure we feed that appetite, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, who is your Boba Fett? You know, it's just like, you remember Boba Fett was not a major character in the Star Wars universe, and then suddenly we have the Mandalorian. You know, that's just something to think about, is that we never know what you're going to gravitate toward. You know, I know what's my favorite characters.
It's Bob. Varinder wants you to say it's Bob.
But it's like Bob has a whole story that we're ready to do in the Miller style. Yes. You know, just so but it's really up to you guys. You know, just the more you respond to us, the more you follow us and let us know. Really, this is a community movie. It is a community comic book, and we are reaching out to the folks that wanted a sequel. You know, this Pat would have never ventured down the road if the consensus was we don't want to see a sequel. He responded, and we've delivered. And now the same thing with the comic book. It's just like, you know, the first one had a comic book, so we went even bigger on this comic book. And if you choose your favorite characters, your favorite, you know, whether it's a villain per se or whether it's the heroes, you know, just let your voice be known to us. And the more you respond, you know, trust me, we have a group right here who's more than happy to carry that out, you know, because it's a universe, like you were saying, you know, Kat, it is a universe to build on, and they're really colorful characters, and they represent us in ways that we would have taken years to actually see later on down the line in the industry. So this is just an absolute way to bring this forward, you know, and thanks to you guys, you just it happened. So you can make it happen.
Love it. Yeah, I'm ready for more. If there's a one character, since I did read it, I want to know more about Gemini, the villain, the female right behind me in the poster.
Yeah. Shout out to Jenny Jackson and Gerald, man. Like, yeah,
definitely shout out to them. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Kat, the Amazing Ates, do you have some? You know what? The Amazing Ates could be a character. We need to see y'all.
Yes,
there you go.
You know,
it's got a name.
It's got a name.
They got a name. Do y'all have any more questions before we leave these guys to celebrate?
My favorite question that we do usually at the end is we do the nerd check, where we ask each of you guys what that one thing that you're just super nerdy about, like, be it like your favorite fandom or like that one thing that you know the most about.
You only one. You gotta pick one.
It has to be one. And then you have to pick the person that talks next.
Yeah, we're popcorning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go first, but
Yeah.
I'm a big Transformer geek. But I mean, for this one, I'll pick Peter Porker, Spider-Ham.
Hey!
I know he's got popular because of Spider-Verse, but I mean, people don't realize he had his own comic book. And
Yes,
I mean, I was always fans of like how what animal they would put which Marvel character, Captain America. Like that was pretty funny to me as a kid. So Spider-Ham's my jam.
Yeah. Love it.
So
All right.
I'll go to Jeffrey.
All right.
Mine is I love time traveling movies. My ultimate movie is like Groundhog's Day. I always love the simple idea of just waking up and having the chance to kind of do things over, or whatever choices you make, good or bad, and you get to kind of do it over again. Any time traveling concept, and Avengers was kind of like
Like
cool, cool thing. Like wow, you get to see like how well put together. So I mean, hopefully, Back to the Future remake, whatever. I love to see all that. So that's my thing.
Time travel is a mechanic. There's so much you can do with it too. So
Yeah, I feel like there's more.
Awesome.
Like, have you seen the Primer movie? The Primer time travel?
Primer. Is that what?
Look it up. You should look it up. It's indie. It's really good.
It's a required.
I love a good time travel movie.
Yeah. I saw. I don't know if you saw that Hulu one, Palm Beach or Palm Trees. Or...
Oh yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. I really like that one too.
That was like pretty clever. So
yeah,
I'll check that out. Is it what? Yeah, if you can like text, message me that movie.
Yeah. All right, you gotta pick. You get to pick the next pick.
Oh, let's see, Dante. What's yours?
I love turtles, so Ninja Turtles.
Did I know that? Did I know you like?
You did not know that, and
I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Donatello.
He plays a Filipino. He plays a Filipino Ninja Turtle in the sequel. That's
yeah. Wow, your dream. We made it happen.
So it was just like, yeah, Ninja Turtle.
That is awesome.
Lawrence.
Sorry to jump in.
Go ahead.
It reminds me of I don't know if you know Larry Lamb. I guess he used to be a Ninja Turtle or play one of the Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, basically, when I was young, I took a martial art class, and he was like one of the, I guess, friends of the instructors, and came in and got his autograph.
So dope.
I lost it. I can't find it. But
That is gone.
but that was like a vivid memory of mine. So
Awesome.
All right, who's next?
Lawrence.
Oh, anybody who knows me knows that I am seriously the Batman geek. I am like the Batman universe. I work in my cave. My son's Robin, so just everything Batman for me. I just love the character, and I love to draw the character because artistically for me, you could put him in any situation, and it's all about just the cape and the cowl, and the cowl, and you can draw variations of that from, and every artist over the years has delivered something so different, and now the movies. So I love comic books, I love Marvel, I love DC, but without a doubt, Batman has been my presence in my life in major ways, and I'm thankful for that character, for giving me part of my career.
Batman's my favorite.
Yeah,
too,
Huntress,
so I feel that.
but that
Yes, that family is awesome.
Catwoman
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
We love that family.
So next up, I'm hitting off with Justin.
I'm a huge obsessive nerd concerning Japanese superheroes.
Yes.
So and I think Lawrence called me out on it earlier. So because I'm Kamen Rider, Ultraman. But actually, my favorite one, which we better know here as Power Rangers, is Super Sentai.
Yeah.
And I'm a bigger Super Sentai fan than Power Ranger guy, I'll admit. But I'm really I like the team aspect of it. I like the goofy monsters. I like the giant robots. I like the costumes. To me are always rad. And those stories are really great because I feel like when they're really good, kind of all ages stories, but they seem to know the stakes. They unlike Power Rangers sometimes, where if you just get a B, that's a horrible day for them. You know, like a B in your grade, etc. So, but like the actual Japanese shows are these really fun adventure, like even dramatic and just all around good time. You know, so yeah.
Awesome.
And hey, giant robots and giant monsters. Who can't
Yes.
say you can't say no to that.
Recipe for
Monster of the week.
right there.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Bob. What about Bob?
I just want to start off by saying I'm not being held hostage right now. My lighting is kind of weird, and this is my first time. I'm using my kindergarten daughter's ring light to try to light me. So I feel like I'm in a hostage.
Blink twice if you need help.
But in the half the Simpsons poster, I apologize for that too. Like I pinned something to the wall because all I had was like half nude baby pictures of myself. And so I didn't want that in the background. So I just was like, okay, let me just grab something, put it on the wall. But you know, next time I'll figure it out. But you can see half of the crew there. I like the Simpsons. But the show that I'm most nerdy about would have to be Dragon Ball Z. Started watching it, right? Yeah, 1998.
Nice.
Got to see how you can still be a good father even though you're never around. You know, with Goku, and got to see him grow up all the way over to like Dragon Ball Super. So
Goku. Wait.
Piccolo was the father figure
Yes,
here. Come
Piccolo
on, man.
and Vegeta. Goku was the villain.
he loves in different ways.
Goku.
You know, he has his passions and his hobbies. You know, but Gohan was fine. He had food. You know.
Gohan was fine. You know?
Gosh.
But yeah, no, Dragon Ball Z all the way.
Yeah, no.
Love it. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you all for joining us tonight on the ShoPowSho. I know you're super excited. This is going to be a crazy week. The anticipation is, I know, at a whole nother level because you know, this Saturday the film will premiering, but I'm sure it's going to be very successful. And from the community of me and the Amazing Ates, we appreciate you joining us to share in regards to the comic book and the stories behind putting it together. We can't wait to talk to you more about the film and then have you all individually on to tell your stories, because the whole purpose of the ShoPowSho is to talk about our representation within the culture and talk about those struggles and those accomplishments to make things happen, to inspire people. And we did that in a small way in regards to this particular episode with all of the individual stories and how this came to being. So we look forward to also telling your individual stories. But man, just give yourself props because you guys are amazing. A lot of times I know that Filipino humility, you know, that we, you know, it's, we're just doing what we want to do, our job, you know, just that. But you guys are doing amazing. You're inspiring people, and you should know that and be very happy and take pride in that. Thank you guys so much. Amazing Ates, any other last words?
No, thank you. You put it excellent. Thanks, guys, so much. This is a blast.
Yeah, I laughed the hardest.
All right,
Thank you guys for having us.
A pleasure having you guys
Yeah,
on.
thank you.
And look forward to your success. Thank you, guys. And again, kudos. Check out, if you haven't bought your tickets yet, because this will be dropping this Monday. Actually, we're recording this Sunday, and now you're hearing it now. The film is premiering this Saturday. Make sure you buy your tickets online through the Hawaiian Film Festival. I did it. I'm going to be watching it virtually because I can't wait to see it. This is going to be so cool, so amazing. Just show these guys love. They put in a lot of hard work for y'all, for the community, for the culture. So thank you guys again so much. We're out of here. Mahakita. Salamat, mabuhay to the Lumpia squad. Mabuhay.
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 Nerdtastic.
right, ladies, y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yo. Yo, what's going on? Here we go. You know I was gonna mess up.
Your false starts are my favorite parts of recording. I'm not gonna lie.
You know I gotta bring that energy. Yo.